Hey, so you're here with Rome with another episode of Drift Smart. I apologize if it's a little windy. We will fix that in the audio. But we're here with a super special guest, Kevin Wells. He is the director of what? Competition director. Basically, he does all your tech for Formula D. So he makes sure that all of your stuff is in line, you're safe to send it, and ready to rock and roll. But the main reason we brought him in is because we wanted him to chat about the jump from Pro-Am to Pro 2 and kind of the mistakes and things that we see and maybe some ways that can help save some money and cash in the long run. So Kevin, go for it. What do we got? What have you noticed between, I guess, coming from a Pro-Am level and bumping up to Pro 2? Maybe some mistakes, some things you can recommend, that type of stuff.
Well, I think probably the biggest mistake would be is everyone wants to either take a season off or build another car. And it usually goes together, but either way they're not driving. So they need to be driving in order to get, better and keep up with everything once you're actually in Pro 2. So I would probably just fix up the car you have and don't go crazy, don't do a sequential and a bunch of things you're not used to. Just get it together and just spend a lot of time in that off season driving to Pro 2, and I think you'd actually have better results.
Got it. So see, you heard from him. Build the car that you're used to and comfortable with. That kind of makes a lot of sense. We campaigned the E36 in Pro-Am, and we literally just changed the boost level and brought it to Pro 2. So it seemed to be successful for us because now the whole team isn't trying to learn something new. You're not trying to learn something new, a new car. You have spares for this car, which is nice. You know kind of what breaks and what doesn't break, and you kind of trust it. Well, I mean, you should trust it. And yeah, it'd be an awesome, easy way for you to transition from that one level to the other level. And then another question for you. What have you noticed as far as driving ability when people do take time off, like 2 or 3 years and then try and come back to it? Do you see it like...
I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but it's like anything else. You don't do it for 2 or 3 years, you get rusty. You don't log into a website for 2 months, you don't remember what the password is. It's the same kind of deal. It comes back, but you're not going to be at the level that you need to be.
Got it.
You have to stay behind the wheel and keep it going. And to your previous point, using the car that you already had, you have spares, and you know how they go on. There's nothing worse than going to your first 5-minute call and you're like, we don't have one of those, or I don't know how the hell that thing goes on the car. So having more experience is always better, especially with the chassis and behind the wheel. So just drive and you'll do better.
Got it. Awesome. So then another question. I know we have a weight limit on Pro 2 for, 2,900 pounds? 2,900 pounds. And then what is the reason for the tire limit? What have you guys decided? Like, why is there a tire limit for Pro 2?
Basically, the tire limit for Pro 2 is just put it on a more even playing field.
Got it.
So, just to simplify everything else, it's supposed to be kind of an in-between. More of a, not necessarily a spec, but not necessarily an unlimited thing. So, having that, difference between the vehicles, because everything else, at the current point, has been pretty much equal. There's a lot of people that build a Pro 1 car for Pro 2, but we try to limit it with the tire. So going forward, there'll probably be changes in that direction to separate the cars a little bit more, and I think that is probably going to be better because you're just making so much work for yourself coming out of Pro-Am if you're trying to copy a Pro 1 car.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus then you know what you're already going to run when you show up, so you can kind of prep the car in the off season for that. And then a lot of Pro-Am series are required to run like a 255 too, right? Is that kind of the spec tire there?
Right, we've been working towards that over the years.
Yeah, so that makes it so that when you guys are out there driving, you know what the car is going to do. So when you do go to the Pro 2, you're not changing a whole lot in theory. I know tech is about the same, so tech has to be legal in both setups. So they try to make it as effortless for us to move from Pro-Am to Pro 2 as possible. Let's say, what else? What's the reason for only running 4 rounds in Pro 2?
The original intention behind that is basically most people, like for example, we're at Willow Springs right now. If you're running Top Drift or Just Drift and you earn your license here, most likely you haven't spent a lot of time traveling the country.
Got it.
So going from just coming to this track to going to Jersey, to Seattle, to Texas, to St. Louis, and trying to do 8 rounds is another gigantic financial jump and another just a logistics jump period of learning all that aspect. Versus here, you can show up with an open car and you'd be fine, then it wouldn't matter. But you start leaving your house for weeks at a time and leaving your stuff on the side of the road, stuff starts becoming different. So that was a transitional thing, trying to go to 4 rounds. So it's not super overburden on the people coming up, but it's still a challenge.
Awesome, absolutely. And yeah, if you know, when he says challenge, it was a challenge. If you saw this year, we ended up flipping our truck and trailer. It was definitely a challenge. Not the way you want to start out Pro 1 is flipping the truck and trailer. So, you know,
yeah, on the way to the first one.
Yeah, on the way to the first round. And then having to figure out what to do. So that's a whole another story and conversation. But yeah, we'll leave it with that. So thank you, Kevin. Is there anything else you wanted to add or say or join to it?
No, it's all good, and hopefully we'll see you guys out here actually driving and get some seat time.
There we go, look at that. That adds to our seat time conversation. So go out there, spend more time driving the car, testing the car, making sure the car runs and you're rock and rolling. You don't need all the fancy stuff to win. So go out there, have fun. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.